Hello everybody, this is David Breen and I am going to create a health bar today. We're going to create the code and then the widget interface, and so let's do that. You can be in whichever template you wish. I'm in the first person template. This is all of our template code we have ready to go. So let's work on making our health bar. First we want to create a variable called health and we want to make it a float. We go up to the upper right here to change that to a float, and then right click, duplicate, and we'll call this one health max. We got to know what our health currently is, which is just health, and what our health maximum can be, so it does not go above that value. So we got that. Now we're going to go over to the functions, create a new function. We're going to call this calculate health. And here we want to create an input. The input is a float, and we call this health. So this is the function where the health comes through, and we are inside the function now, as you can see up here. The event graph is the main graph, and this is where we can call this function, calculate health. Right click, calculate health right there. So here's our function now. And what we would do is we'd create a custom event, and we name this add health, calculate health, and this value here, say 5, and then we can do another custom event, call it sub health, and then go like this. As you can see, this one didn't get updated. Refresh, right click, refresh. So this will be health of 5, health of -5. Compile. Then we can double click on the calculate health. We're back into our function. So this value here from the input we created for health, that is the flow of logic that comes through that. So in the event graph, whatever we plug into this or put into this value is the same thing as what's coming out here. So what we want to do is we want to add to the health or subtract. So we're going to set the health by dragging the variable out here into the grid. We want to set the health to the logic that comes out from health plus, plug that in, connect the logical arrows there. So we want to take the health value that we fed into the function, and we want to add what to the health? Well, whatever value came through here, plus get health, whatever the health already is. You're saying this value plus what the health is, and set the new health to that. All right. Now we can do a branch here, and we might want to make a sequence because we'll have several different conditions we want to check. So here under the branch, we're going to say get the health again. If the health becomes greater or equal at any time that this is being calculated, if the health ever reaches the health max, so let's say your health max, let's set that now to 100, default value here on the right. Compile to make sure that it changes that value. So our current health, excuse me, let's say is 100 as well. You start at 100 health, and that's your max. So while you're calculating your health, whether it's adding health or subtracting health, we want to run a branch check to say, is the health ever above or is it equal to the health max? If it is, then we want to set the health to the health max, and that'll keep it from going above 100. And then we also want to say, we'll do another branch in health, copy paste is your friend. So now we say if the health ever drops to less than or equal 0, then we set the health to 0. You could just say less, but it's, you know, it's good to cross your T's and I's and all that. Just to be sure, I like to use the greater or equal a lot, or the less or equal. Depends on the situation. All right, so that sets your health to 0. Compile. Now what we can do is we can test this out. What we want to do is we want to say on event tick, print the string of what the health is. Okay? So that will tell us over and over and over what the health value is. Now I'm going to say keyboard A. So if I push A on the keyboard, we're going to add health. And then say keyboard jet, keyboard S, and that will be sub health. All right. So now let's see what happens. I hit play. We see 100 up there. I push S and it subtracts by 5. When I get to 0, it stays at 0. Now if I increase it by pushing A, it goes to 100, stays at 100. All right, we got that. So that works. And then what you would do is, instead of it being, of course, these keys, you would just apply these functions whenever the player hits like a health pack or gets shot. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to go right click down here inside the content browser, and we want to create a user interface widget. I'm just going to name it widget for this tutorial. And what we want to do is we already have a bunch of useful components up here under palette, and we want to get the progress bar. So just type in pro, drag that in, and you can see this little symbol up here. That means that your health bar is anchored to that corner. And you can change that over here under anchors. That's so that they maintain their position if the screen size changes. So we'll just make our health bar like that, typical health bar. And you can see here under progress on the right, we can drag the percentage. And we don't want to do this manually though. What we want to do is bind this, create binding. And we want to cast to the first person character in order to get this health information. So you just type in cast to first person character, or whatever yours could be, third person character. It depends on what it is, your default player class. And then we want to drag out of object. We want to say get player, and usually the one you want is highlighted with the star. We want to check by compiling. All right, that'll work. You could also say get player character, and that'll work. I'm just going to go with that one since this is our default character, not just any pawn. And I did not name this function here, so I'll say health bar, go back into it. And the health bar graphic is dictated by the health. So get the health and get the health max. It's got to know both of these variables. And all you do is you divide, hit the slash on the question mark key. Get that up there. So it's health divided by health max, and then you plug that result in here, and then that will give you this progress bar's value will change in real time based on the health of your character. And now the third step is we have to tell this widget to display. So we go to begin play. One moment, I have someone at the door. Okay, so where were we? We want to get our widget attached. So we go into the event graph, begin play right here. So after all this, I'm just going to create a sequence. And the sequence just means that it's going to, apologize for the sound effects in the background. I'll try to filter those out. All right, so we got a sequence. That means it does 0 and then 1 in that order, pretty self-explanatory. So I'll put this down to number 2. You can hold Alt and click on one of these pins to automatically delete it. And what we want to do is drag out and say create widget. You know, you just have to know the terminology, get that memorized for Unreal Engine, because it could, you know, create widget could easily be like intuitively display widget, and you're not going to see anything, or open widget, you know. So you got to know that create is like if you want to bring in an actor or another character, you actually say spawn actor. So you have to spawn an actor, but then you create a widget. So yeah, that's the terminology. You got to get that down. And we want to create the widget we made. And then final thing is add to the viewport. And normally what you would also want to do is drag out from the return value and say make variable. I guess I get that automatic, or just right click, that's what you do. Right click and promote to variable. See? Create, promote, spawn, lots of different words. So promoting it to a variable, it gets a nice promotion, better salary right there. And we want to change this to widget. That way we can later, if we want to, just use this variable and say remove. And my graphics card's acting gnarly. So it's about time to wrap this tutorial up. So now if I hit play, you can see the blue up there, the health bar. And when I hit A and S, you can see it's subtracted and added. Alright, so that's your tutorial on how to create a health bar and add it to the screen. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I'm going to start doing a regular YouTube series about Unreal Engine 4 and 5. You all have a good day.